All right.
Welcome to day
Awesome.
6, huh? It's day 6 already.
Day 6. We're almost done. I got a special guest speaker for tomorrow and Wednesday. Super excited about that. And then I think it's going to be a great week. So with that in mind, if this is your first day and you've missed out on the first week, you're definitely lost behind at this point. So go check out the replay if you haven't been following along. Can I get a show of hands? Who's brand new? This is day 1 for you. Anyone? Or drop a 1 below if this is day 1 for you, if you haven't checked out any of the other trainings so far. Cool. Most of you guys have. Is everyone caught up on days 1 through 5? Drop a 1 if you have. Cool. So for the most part, you guys are up to date. So with that in mind, let's dive in. I'm sure you guys are really excited for today. We're going to be covering paid ads, prospecting. Day 6, and today is going to be all about how to get booked appointments for your agency with paid ads. Who's excited? Who's feeling ready to go? If you are, drop one final round of ones in the chat, and let's freaking do this. So with that in mind, there's a lot to cover. And today we're going to go over a huge warning to get us started. Then I've got even more paid ads warnings for you guys, just because a lot of people dive in expecting that the moment they put $1 in, they're going to start getting $3 out. And I just want to guide you guys in the right direction. We're also going to be talking about the biggest hack to cracking the code on agency ads. We're going to go over the entire map of what a campaign should look like, especially if you've never ran ads before. I also wrote not 1, not 2, but 3 ads for you guys. I wrote 3 ads that you guys can plug and play for your niche, aligned with the offer that we created on day 3. So if any of you are going to run the offer that we launched, now you have ads to promote it and get people to take an action on that offer automatically. So who's excited for that bonus? I wasn't planning to do that until like an hour ago, and I decided, you know what, let me actually write 3 ads. I just finished the 3 ads right before this call, so I'm pretty excited about that. And we're also going to go over my top 3 favorite creatives, just because I obviously couldn't come up with an image or a video for each niche. It would take way too long. So I figured I'd give you guys my top 3 favorite frameworks to make good creatives. If we have time, I don't know if we will, but if we do, we'll do a step-by-step ad walkthrough. I will need to borrow someone's business manager because I'm restricted right now. Story of pretty much everyone's life. Who here is restricted or disabled right now with their ad accounts? Anyone? Nope. You guys are good. Cool. When you run a lot of ads, you're going to get ad accounts shut down, Facebook pages blocked, access restricted. To be honest, I got mine restricted a few months ago, but since my team runs all my ads at this point, I haven't even appealed it. So with that in mind, if we do get to that section where we actually set the ads up together, I will need a volunteer. And that's pretty much it. So with that in mind, here we go. First things first, I got a huge warning for you guys. I can't possibly teach you everything in regards to paid ads in 1 hour. It's impossible. There's so much that goes into it in regards to copywriting, offer creation, media buying, all the different strategies that you can implement to make paid ads work for you. It's way too much for 1 hour. So my goal today is just to give you a really, really strong foundation, a really, really strong high-level overview so that you can take the first few steps. But for example, in my coaching program, we have a daily ads training. We train every single day on ads. So it's impossible for me to be able to take hundreds of hours of training and boil it down into 1 hour. I hope that's okay with you guys. We're still going to cover as much as humanly possible.
Hey, Joe,
and yeah,
we're going to use Steph Borrell's ad account.
If we have time, yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
If you need a volunteer.
Awesome. Sweet. Paid ads, prospecting warnings. I do believe that paid ads is the agency holy grail because it allows you to transition into what I like to call one-to-many prospecting. When you're messaging people on Facebook, it's one by one. And if you have a virtual assistant doing it, yes, it's automated, but it's still one-to-one prospecting. Paid ads is one of the few ways that you can truly accomplish one-to-many prospecting that you're in full control over. So you can tell Facebook, hey, I want to invest this much money to get in front of this many people. You put the money in, you get in front of those people. And the reason I want to start with this, guys, is because, again, the most difficult job that I have as a coach is not teaching you guys paid ads, but it's in convincing you guys to run paid ads. Most of you guys are scared to actually put in $1 and see what happens. So I have to sell you on paid ads before I even teach you how to run paid ads. Because the reality is I could spend the next hour giving you, I literally wrote the ad copy. It's plug and play. And 90% or more of you will still not run it because you're not sold on paid ads. And you're going to be like, well, Joel, I just got a VA. Let me just do that instead. And I just want to be clear. Paid ads is the holy grail for a few reasons. If you crack the code on it, it is the system that allows you to put in $1 in and get $3 out. But most importantly, it allows you to build momentum much, much faster by getting you in front of more people, by giving you practice in terms of being able to take more sales calls. And it allows you to create a snowball effect much faster than any other method. So everyone sees paid ads as just being a method to get appointments, but I also see it as paying to practice more quickly. So for example, if you guys are running cold email or Facebook DMs like I taught you on Friday, and you're getting a few appointments a week, which is average, you're just not getting enough practice. But if I fill up your entire calendar with booked appointments through paid ads, even if it costs you more, and even if you get rejected all of those times, that initial barrier to start closing, you're going to overcome it so much faster because you're getting the reps in so much more quickly. So for example, let's say you're doing DMs and it takes you a few weeks to get through enough appointments to actually start closing. Time is money. So even if you're not paying for ads and the appointments are free, you're still not making money. So it's still costing you something. And with paid ads, you can get momentum by practicing much more quickly. And it's going to expose the problems in your business and in your agency so that you can actually fix those problems and scale to the next level. So I truly see it as the holy grail, not just in setting appointments, but also in helping you level up and scale your business much more quickly. It's also the biggest irony of all time. Most ad agencies don't run ads. So it's extremely hypocritical and it doesn't add up in my mind. How many of you guys are running ads right now? Okay, a few of you guys. Justin is. What's up, Justin? I see you. I think George raised his hand. I know Paulson raised his hand. Who's not running ads? Be honest. Drop a 1 if you're not running ads. Drop a 1. I'm not going to judge you. It's totally okay. But the point I'm trying to make is most of you guys are selling marketing services and you're selling ads, but you're not willing to put your money where your mouth is. So the reason I'm also telling you this is because if you really want to be able to back up everything that you're selling and have high conviction, you have to be willing to master the art of paid ads yourself. It's like you wouldn't go to a dentist that has disgusting teeth. You wouldn't go see a personal trainer that's not fit and that is really weak. You wouldn't. So I think that's one of the other reasons you guys all need to run paid ads. It's also the key DNA amongst 7-figure agencies that no one is talking about. If you look at 90% or more of 7-figure agencies out there, they're all running paid ads. This is something that I realized when I launched my coaching program and why I made paid ads such a key point of helping my clients get results is because I saw that most of the successful agencies, including my own, all were running paid ads. And like I said, it's also the fastest and easiest way to improve your skills and close faster. Let's say that you pay $300 for 10 appointments and you need 10 appointments to actually get enough momentum to start closing. And you take those 10 appointments over 2 days. In 2 days, you got enough practice to start closing. Whereas if you're getting 3 appointments a week, you're going to need 3.5 weeks to get through enough appointments to start closing. So by the time person who's not running paid ads starts closing, you've already closed a ton more clients. And how many of you guys have heard of the analogy, like when you start making money, it brings out who you really are? If you're a bad person, it's going to bring that out even more. If you're a good person, it's going to bring that out even more. It's kind of the same with paid ads. If you're a good entrepreneur, you're going to scale very quickly. If you're a bad entrepreneur, it's going to expose you and it's going to make you clean everything up and earn the right to scale. So I also like paid ads in that it's like an X-ray on our business. It's like when you go to the doctor, let's say you hurt your shoulder and you get an X-ray on your shoulder and you can see what's wrong with it. Paid ads is like the X-ray of business because it's going to allow you to see what's not working and quickly clean it up. Let's see. Let's keep going here. Now, a lot of you guys are going to ask me, if I'm just starting out, should I run paid ads? If I were to start over, I would do it much, much sooner. I waited way too long. My whole philosophy is follow the Chipotle rule. If you guys are spending $8 on a burrito bowl or on a burrito, you have money to run paid ads. Absolutely. If you guys have money to go out and eat, you have money for paid ads. Even if it's $10 a day on paid ads, you absolutely, that's just get started. It doesn't matter if it's only $10. I'd rather you get started on $10 a day than not get started. The hardest part is taking the first step. So all of you guys are going to ask me, Joel, if I'm just starting out, should I do it? The answer is yes. And if you guys are like, but Joel, I don't have money, I would say go do Uber at night and that should be your ad spend money. If you really don't have $10. And if you're going to Starbucks and you're going to Chipotle and you're going out to eat, you definitely have money for paid ads. Everyone thinks that you need a corporate level budget to start running paid ads, but you just need $10 a day. What is that? It's like $200 a month. No, maybe a little more. Let's call it $250 a month, $300 a month. It's doable. You also want to treat paid ads like you treat it with your clients. It's funny because when our clients start freaking out, if the ads aren't working, we tell them, oh, it's totally normal. There's ups and downs. It's part of the process. Yet when we are running ads and it doesn't work right out of the gate, or if we're running ads and there's ups and downs, you guys are freaking out. So you have to treat paid ads the same way that you would tell your clients to treat paid ads. I tell all of my clients, I show them the graph of the S&P 500 and I tell them, look, as long as over the course of the next few months we're going up, I don't care if we have a bad day or even a bad week. And they get it. But the moment that we start running ads, we start freaking out and we start judging the results of the entire strategy based on one given day. So you guys really have to look at paid ads as a more long-term investment to help you practice, to help you build your email list, to help you build your phone number list, to help you build up your pixel, as opposed to it being this like one day, I need appointments, it's going to fix all my problems type of thing. And that's what most of you guys are. And guys, this is how I approached it at first. This is why before I actually took off, I had tried paid ads, I'd say 3 times before I really committed to it. I'll also say the biggest reason you're going to fail with paid ads is fear. A ton of you guys might be right before the moment where it takes off, and that's when most of you guys stop. Most of you guys invest the initial $100, it doesn't work, and then you're like, you know what, Joel? This didn't work for me. Paid ads doesn't work. Maybe it doesn't work in my niche. And the reality is it works in every niche. Marketing is marketing. Advertising is advertising. It's worked for every industry ever. So the reality is you are just listening to the emotional side of the journey. And like I said on day one, you have to look at the data and put your emotions aside. I got a few more warnings and then we'll dive in. Let's see. If it were up to me, guys, and I had money to spend, I would budget out at least a few $1,000s a month. So for example, when I scaled we did this as a test, and we scaled a brand new agency in the legal niche to $50,000 a month. We did it in 60 days. So we had generated, I think it was over $100,000 in revenue over the 60 days, but we had spent $30,000 on ads. So the reason I share this is because if you have money and you know, if you have experience, if you know how to sell, I'd be willing to be more aggressive with your budget. Now, if you're just starting out, I would say if you have a few thousand, just put it in. It's going to force you to level up much more quickly. And if you don't have any money, then put in as much as you can. I'll also say a few more things. The cost of the appointment is going to depend a ton on your niche. So for example, if you're targeting a weird niche that no one else is targeting, it's going to be really, really cheap. If you're targeting chiropractors like everyone on the planet, or dentists or gym owners, it's going to be more expensive. And depending on how good your offer is, that's also going to make a huge, huge difference. So most of you guys have the offer that I built out for you, and it's a really good offer. So you should get really good cost per booked appointments. But like I said, it also depends on the niche. So if your friend over here is saying, or if you see someone running an ad being like, yo, I'm getting $5 booked appointments, keep in mind that it might not necessarily apply across all the niches. Let's see. I got three more things, guys, and then we'll dive in. The faster, and by the way, is this helpful, guys? Drop a 1 if it's helpful. Am I losing any of you? Yeah.
Hey, real quick, guys, it's really important to remember that Joel is not handing over a pre-made meal, right? We're showing you how to fish. We're not handing over the fish. Your ads will suck at some point in the lifetime of you running ads. It's going to happen. Then don't come back and say, oh, Joel gave me these scripts and it was supposed to work. And I did my offer and all of that. Just like how we planned out the email scripts, the high-level campaign scripts, all those things. The same philosophy applies here.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know if you got, who remembers the Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson analogy from day one? Give me a show of hands if you do. Phil Jackson never went in the middle of the game and asked Michael to pass him the ball and then shot the ball. Like that never happened. Phil was there to guide and mentor Michael, but at the end of the day, the shots that Michael missed and the shots that Michael made was all up to Michael. And a lot of people that are looking for mentors, as soon as they sign up for a mentor or a coach or a program, they think, okay, now the responsibility's on them. I don't have to worry about it. But the reality is the responsibility of your success is always on you, and mentors are just there to guide you. So with that, someone put triangle offense. Nice. Okay, 3 more things really, really quickly, and then we're going to dive into what everyone wants to hear, which is the ads, the creative, all that good stuff. 3 more things. The faster you test at the beginning, the faster it's going to be to crack the code. I have one of my students who just hit 100K a month in the e-com niche. And he said to me, yo, Joel, I'm going to put $3,000 in 1 week and see what happens. He was able to test so much more, and he was able to test much more quickly than everyone else. So he got it converting very, very quickly. The last 2 things I'm going to say, you have to tweak often. This is not like running an ad for a local business. This is B2B. It's not B2C. We're targeting other business owners. We're not targeting consumers. So for example, when you're a gym owner and you're running an ad to everyone in Denver or everyone in LA or everyone in Miami, making an offer to like a $7 7-day trial to come in and check out the gym, you're targeting everyone. When we're targeting another business, it's a different ballgame. The actual advertising strategy is a little bit more complex. So don't expect to just set it and forget it. If you guys think that once you get it to convert and it's getting you appointments, the job is done, you're going to be faced with a harsh reality the moment it stops working. So it is absolutely not a system where you can just set it and forget it. This is why I do a daily ads training in my program every single day, because the moment that it stops working, you should have already been anticipating and making tweaks and testing out new things. And then last but not least, I'm going to say this final warning and then we'll dive in. If you suck at everything else, this is not going to solve all your problems. Everyone's sorry, I know that sounds really harsh. Peter's laughing.
That was harsh, Joel. That was harsh. But I it's appreciated.
It's all with love, guys. Sometimes my wife calls me out all the time. She's like, Joel, you realize you're way more direct than you think you are. But I'm over here hanging out with you guys. It's Monday. I don't mean to be harsh, but if the message I'm trying to share with you guys is that if you're really bad at sales, even if you get a lot of appointments, it's not all of a sudden going to fix the fact that you're bad at sales and need to level that area of your business up. Again, if anything, it's going to highlight to you, oh man, I'm really not good at sales. I should work on this. One of my fundamental beliefs is that your agency is always speaking to you and actually telling you what you need to work on. And if you just listen and lean in, you'll level up little by little and achieve your goals. So I think paid ads helps you get that clarity, but it doesn't necessarily fix it. Cool. With that in mind, how's everyone feeling? Good? Sweet. All right. Here's the biggest hack to getting ads to work. Here's the number one biggest hack. There's 3 parts to getting an ad to work. There's the targeting, there's the funnel, there's the ad. Okay? So the landing page, the ad, the targeting. Those are kind of the 3 core pieces of getting paid ads to convert. Now, the problem is most of you guys are trying to figure out all 3 components of getting this ad to work at a time. What I like to do is isolate one at a time and work on one thing at a time. And here's how we do it. For targeting, what we're going to do is we're going to run ads to a custom audience. And the way that we're going to do this is, I don't know if you guys remember I think it was day 2 or day 4. Day 4, we built out your prospecting lists. Well, if you have a list of a ton of emails and phone numbers, now we can upload that to Facebook. We can create a custom audience and we could target that audience. We could also take that custom audience and build a lookalike off of it and target that audience. So now we have proven targeting. So we have essentially isolated this variable. It's proven. We don't have to try to figure it out. This is not a long-term strategy because your custom audience is probably small and it's going to dry up, but it's definitely a solid short-term solution to get you started as you start trying to crack the code on the 2 other variables. What I'll also do is target proven interest. So for example, if we pull up the ads manager and I look up chiropractor in the interest, I can target job titles. I can target universities. And if you put that you went to New York Chiropractic in your profile, you're pretty much guaranteed to be a chiropractor. Or if your job title is chiropractor, and that's what you have on your profile, more likely than not, you're a chiropractor. So essentially, when we start out, we're going to target either a custom audience or what I like to call proven interest. So for example, this is an unproven interest. If I target pain management, it's this big open-ended interest. You might be interested in pain management, but you definitely will probably not be a chiropractor. A lot of you guys are targeting these unproven interests, and we popped up once. Okay. A lot of you guys are targeting those unproven interests, and what's happening is you're not reaching your ideal audience. So the way that we reach our ideal audience is we upload a list, Facebook, we build a custom audience to it. We build a custom audience out of it. Then we run ads to that custom audience. And then we're also going to target by very, very specific interests that match up. So that's targeting. Now, here's how I deal with landing pages. Landing pages, and like for example, with Go High Level, they have a ton of different funnels. And a ton of my students have moved on to funnels on High Level. The problem when you're starting out is that you're introducing a massive variable. So when we're starting out, what I tell all of my students is get rid of the funnel altogether. And what we're going to do is start with lead forms or messenger ads. Does everyone know what lead forms and messenger ads are? This is a little bit more advanced. Essentially, lead forms are Facebook's internal landing page that stays right in. It's like a landing page, but right on Facebook. And then messenger ads, you're getting people to send you a message to your business page. Someone's asking, do I want to start with a Go High Level survey? Eventually. But you're still introducing another variable by doing a survey. We'll move into that. And I do a 2-step application funnel on High Level. That being said, I don't start with that ever. Because now, if we are targeting a proven audience and we eliminate the funnel, we're only left with having to get one variable down. This is how we figured out how to run paid ads. We eliminated variables and then started adding complexity. Instead of starting with these crazy audiences and instead of starting with these crazy funnels, what we do is we upload a custom audience or upload a list to Facebook. We run ads to that custom audience. We also target proven interests. We'll completely get rid of the funnel on High Level, and we'll just target through lead forms and messenger ads. For example, if someone clicks on your messenger ad, all it does is starts a conversation with them. So you guys are now getting people to come to you and start conversations with you. Yes, it's not as sexy as getting someone to book an entire appointment fully automated and fill out an application, but at the beginning, it doesn't really matter. Especially when, again, remember, the number one reason most people fail with ads is fear. As soon as it stops working, they'll take their foot off the pedal and give up. And you have to go through that initial period at the beginning, just like when you first started taking sales calls where it wasn't working until it starts to work. So I want to make it as easy as possible for you to go through that initial period and get as many quick wins as possible. And if I can show you guys that out of the 20 people that opted into your messenger bot, 5 of them started really good conversations with you, then you're going to be way more likely to keep spending and keep adding complexity as you scale. Now,
something here, Joel?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Some of you may have ran ads without making the decisions that we made together in day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which was picking a niche and an offer and making sure you've got the ability to say a singular message. Some of you guys have ran ads that just promoted this generic, complex business, and that audience never have ever related with you, right? So it's important that you don't come with those biases when you take part in this workshop.
Love that. Yeah, I think that I should have mentioned that. If you have not been following along days 1 through 5, this strategy will not necessarily work. I mean, it might, but I'm definitely not putting my money on it. This strategy assumes that you have a really good offer, a niche, you've scraped a list, et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't have a niche, this is going to be really hard for it to work. That's a really good point to throw in there. Let's see. Cool. That's pretty much it for the biggest hack, because now all we have to worry about, guys, is the actual ad. And given the fact that I wrote all these 3 ads for you guys, you don't really have to figure much out. So that's how you get ads to convert. You eliminate the targeting variable, you eliminate the funnel variable, and then now you only have to worry about writing some good copy and getting a really good image or video that grabs people's attention, and you should be good. And I know that sounds extremely simple and a little too easy, but again, I didn't say the hardest part about running ads was the actual ad. I said the hardest part about running ads is committing to the process and working through the fear, especially if right out of the gates it doesn't work. And you might need to test a few more copy variations, or you might need to test a few more images. Like maybe you take the copy that I wrote for you, but your image is awful. So what you have to do is commit through that process. And I think that's the hardest part. Now, with that in mind, let's keep going just because there's a lot to cover. Is it cool with you guys if we keep going fast? I feel like normally, I mean, I could spend hours on this, but we only have 23 minutes. So cool. All right, here's the campaign structure. This is kind of like your roadmap. This is what you're building. And if you're so confused right now, all you need to do is go watch like a very basic Facebook ads video that kind of just look up how to set up lead form ads, and it's going to show you how to set this up. And this is all the targeting. It's everything you'll pretty much need. Now, here's what I like to do when I start. Let's pick lead form campaign. You could also do messenger if you want. Whoops. I think you guys get it. You could do messenger or lead forms. It doesn't really matter. It's up to you and what you want. But this is the type of campaign you're going to run. In terms of your targeting, you're going to target a custom audience, ages 21 to 65. You're going to just do the Facebook feed, and you're going to do short form copy with one creative. Then you're going to duplicate that entire ad set, and we're going to target a different creative. So we have creative A versus creative B. Then you're going to duplicate these two, and it's into 2 more ad sets. So now you're going to have 4 total ad sets in your campaign. So this is all one campaign, by the way. But now we have 4 ad sets. And now we're switching up the copy from short form to long form. So we're testing out at this point 2 variables, the image and the copy, which again, I mentioned to you guys, the way to make this work is by cracking the code on the ad. So we're testing for that variable. Then what I'll do is duplicate this entire thing. So now I'll have 8 total ad sets in my campaign, and we'll target proven interests. Same 2 forms of copy, 2 forms of creative, and proven interest. Now, if you have more money to spend and you want to test more quickly, like I mentioned earlier, you can duplicate this entire thing. So let me just make this small. You guys could duplicate this entire thing and then do medium copy. Like you can test out more things. Or you could do creative C. So you could test out more things at once. But if I'm just starting out, this is a really good setup. In terms of messenger versus lead forms, it kind of depends on what you want. It doesn't really matter. I normally start with lead forms. I also run messenger ads. they both accomplish the same goal of removing the funnel. That's the whole point. Now that's the structure, guys. The only difference is if you're going to do interest targeting, the only difference is that you should match the age with your demographic. So with custom audiences, the age, you could even make it 18. It doesn't really matter. You can just do a wide spread on the age because you're targeting the audience and you just want to grab as many people that match as possible. But with interest, you actually do want to target based on the average age. So for example, if most gym owners are between the age of 27 and 50, then target 27 and 50. We also just want to do Facebook feed, nothing else for now. And that's pretty much it, guys. This is it. This is the structure. This is how you set it up. Does that make sense, guys? Have I lost a few of you guys?
Those of you that may be absolutely brand new to advertising, like you've never sold advertising, you have never seen what an advertisement setup is like. Can you give me like a 1 in the chat? If there's enough of you, I'm going to make a point. If not, okay, there's some of you that have never done this before, even for yourself. It's like a science project. Back in the day, when you were in the 8th grade science project, one of the first things you learn is you have a controlled environment, you have an independent variable. In advertising, or dependent variable. In advertising, you have to look at advertising as a science project. You could only test one variable at a time for a lot of time, time period or a cycle. Okay. And that's how you look at it. If you've never done that before, there's plenty of YouTube videos that you can learn how to do that. But in advertising, regardless of the platform, you have to only test one thing at a time. It's important that you don't just boost a bunch of, ads and hope for the best with some surveys and landing pages and blah, blah, blah. It ain't going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So to add to that, the more tests you run, the faster you're going to figure it out. Kind of like in science class. If you run 30 tests, you're going to be able to see more, you're going to be able to collect more data, see what works and see what doesn't work more quickly. So I would say the key here in this strategy, guys, is to test this part out more. You could even test headlines as well. Like we can go one layer deeper and do headline A, headline B, headline C. So you're really just testing the ad because we're going off of the assumption that the targeting is good. And since we're doing lead forms and messenger ads, we don't have to worry about everything that happens once they click. So really all I'm testing is the copy, the creative, and then if you want to take it a step further, the headline. That's pretty much it. Someone asked, do I group interests together? Yes, I do. I'll create an audience with all the interests in it. Since we're not going national here, we are going national, but it's a very specific niche. It's not like we're running ads for an e-com brand targeting women in the US. Like that's massive. So in a scenario like that, we'll want to break up the interest. But since the audience for example, Kairos or gym owners is only 50,000 people, I'm going to group interests. The only caveat, this is the important point, guys. If you're going to do interest targeting, you have to make sure that it's a proven interest. What do I mean by this? Job titles, universities, fields of study, even that one is a little unproven. You want to look for interests where you're 90% or more certain that it will match with the ideal person. So for example, Invisalign. Does everyone know what that is for your teeth? There's a lot of people looking for Invisalign and searching for it. So if you put Invisalign as the interest, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a dentist. But if we're targeting the job title of dentist or dental surgeon or orthodontist, or we're targeting New York Dental School, it's pretty much guaranteed that we're targeting dentists. Or for example, we're targeting the American Dental Association. There's very few non-dentists that follow the American Dental Association. So if we're going to do interest, we just want to make sure that all you need to do is ask yourself, am I 90% sure that the people following this interest are going to be my ideal audience? There's going to be some people that follow the American Dental Association that aren't dentists, maybe salesmen in the industry or medical reps for medical equipment that sell to dentists, maybe some dental secretaries. But for the most part, if you follow the Dental American Association, you're a dentist. So that's the structure, guys.
Remember, guys, the audience size is not going to change ever. It's the same audience size. That variable doesn't change no matter what. Whether it's small, big, large, it doesn't matter. That's a set number. Whether you have that data or not, it's still a set number. You've got to get creative with your offers, your advertisements, your copy, all your interests and things like that. Your audience size doesn't change. There's only 16,000 plastic surgeons, no matter how you go about it. Nothing you can change about that. And I'm saying that because I see all these questions that are coming in about audience size. It's not like a local ad where you want like 150,000, 200,000 people on a list. It's not. You're not generating new audiences. You're just targeting with the same exact audience multiple different ways.
Guys, this is a really good question. This is definitely more of a technical day for sure. Someone asked, should we be doing ABO or CBO? So should we be spreading the budget across the entire campaign or across the ad sets? I personally hate CBO because you don't know for sure what's working and what isn't. So I would say you're going to create a lead form campaign, and then you're essentially going to have, in the example that I gave you guys, 8 ad sets, and you get to determine the budget per ad set. So now I'm essentially saying to Facebook, hey, I want you to put this much money per ad across the board. And now I can really see which ad worked, which ad did not work, and go that way. The other...
I'm going to say heck no to CBO, especially if you're on Chipotle budget like myself.
Yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is dynamic creative. That's another question that's definitely going to come up. Same thing goes. I'm not a big fan of dynamic creative unless you're running $10,000 a day ad spend for an e-com brand. Most of you guys are just not spending enough for dynamic to make sense. I've never seen performance go up drastically for dynamic at this level. And taking away the ability to see with absolute certainty which creative worked is not worth the upside of doing dynamic, in my opinion. So at least for most of you guys. All right. And guys, remember what I said on day one. We're going to go back to day one for a quick sec. Everyone's going to want to overcomplicate the crap out of this section and out of this day to the point that they never run ads. And it's going to be 3 months from now. And if I send you a message on Facebook being like, yo, Justin, how are your ads coming along? Be like, oh, I'm still trying to figure out which audience to target. Most of you guys just need to take the first step and let the data guide you and let the data help you figure out where to go from there. As Mark, who is the coach that does daily ads training in our private group, what he does is he tells everyone, look, I don't know how to run Facebook ads. I just know how to test things. Obviously, you can't take that statement in a black or white format. If you guys just tried anything, it wouldn't work. But we're giving you guys a really good framework. We're giving you the 80% of the way there. We're giving you that foundation. So at this point, to go from that 80% to 100, it's going to be just a matter of testing things out. There's no secret technical sauce that we're hiding. Once you have this, guys, the rest will just come down to testing. So, cool. Who's ready to see the ads? Give me a show of hands if you're ready for the ads. All right, let's do this. All right, here we go. I made 3 ads for you guys. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Here's some good headlines. Test drive our system, 10 free appointments, free Actually, like 10 free appointments on us. Don't pay us a dime. All right. I gave you guys a short form, medium form, and long form. Short form. Gym owners struggling to keep doors open due to a lack of new members. Can't stand the inconsistency of relying on crappy ad agencies, gym gurus, and free challenges to get people in the door. Then you'll love this. We will send you 10 appointments for free. No catch. We just want to prove ourselves and earn the chance to work together. Plus, you wouldn't have to do any of the follow-up. Just take the appointments and close the members we send your way. Click the button below and fill out a brief form to secure your spot. If you're doing messenger ads, you could say, and send us a message. $0 to get started. P.S. If you're seeing this area, understand that your competitors are two, and we can ethically only work with one gym per area. There's absolutely zero risk in clicking below to start this process, and it'll only take 60 seconds to complete this form. Or you can say to send us a message.
Hey, Joel,
Secures your spot.
Are you able to make that file public and share in the chat?
I'll send you the PDF, and then you can figure out how to get it to everyone. Everyone's been asking about slides, PDFs. I think the best thing to do is at the end of it, me and Paulson will meet for an hour and just get everything in one place. That way we can just knock it out.
Yeah, it's going to be posted in the help desk. If you don't know what that is, there's a high-level help desk with a bunch of PDFs and all of that. We'll throw it in there.
Cool. So that's ad number one. Ad number two. Attention roofers, don't pay me a single dime. We'll set up your first campaign for free. We'll follow up with all the leads for free. Guarantee 10 appointments in 10 days with zero ad spend. This is everything you get if you click the button below and fill out the form to secure your spot. If you're doing messenger ads, say and send us a message to secure your spot. No catch. We just want to prove ourselves and earn the chance to work together. All this, $0. All this and $0 to get started. Click the button below or send us a message. All right, long form. Dear orthodontist, you've been lied to. All this time we've been brought up to think that the proven way to get new patients is the only way to do it. By proven, I mean begging patients for referrals. You could even say existing patients. Hiring crappy marketing agencies, running Facebook ads. But if you're like me, you've probably thought there has to be a better way to do this. Well, I'm investing my own money to let you know you're right. How does it work? First off, let's say goodbye to the old proven way to fill your practice. And hello to exclusive to you patients booking directly on your calendar. More time freedom and less stress because you know your chair time is packed. Battle-tested automated follow-up AI. Yours free when you click the button below that nurtures your patients for you. Oh yeah, we will also send you 10 appointments for free. No catch. We just want to prove ourselves and earn the chance to work together. And we'll do all of this with zero ad spend. That's right. Don't pay us a single dime. That is how confident we are that this will change your practice. Click the learn more button below and let's talk. But do it fast because there's 60 dental practices per 100,000 people in the US. So your competitors are probably looking at this too.
Can I share something here, Joel?
Yeah.
So some of you may be just typing down all these things you're seeing on your screen. That's the wrong way to go about it, okay? And some of you, I say this respectfully and lovingly, you're going to find out that you're not that great at marketing in general because now you have to market yourself. And that's okay, right? One of the most important skills that you have to have is copywriting. And copywriting is it's like the brother of sales, in my opinion, right? And when I look at copywriting, it's very similar to how Joel runs his campaigns. And I've always noticed that about Joel over the years. I like to start off with a disruptive headline of some kind or top of the copy, right? The middle of it is going to be the solution or the bridge. The bottom of it is going to be what I call a call to action. Top is disruption. Middle is solution. Bottom is action, right? So when you look at this framework that you need to innovate on based on what Joel's sharing with you, think of it that way. Top, disruption. Middle, solution. bottom, action, right? If I'm going to go out to the dental industry right now, my copy is going to be disruptive. The top is going to say, hey, stop spending $3,000 for a random Joe Blow agency. I want them to be like, oh, what the heck? Like, I want them to just stop, right? And then the solution is going to be, here's what you've been preached to in the past. Here's what I do differently. At the bottom, click below with a offer. Remember, we have to have an offer that has to be there. That has to be evident. And one more point. Why is it important to have short copy versus long copy? What is the ultimate difference? The ultimate difference is how you filter the traffic. If you want more filtered traffic that's more indoctrinated to your offer, you want long copy that filters them out with so many different points. So when they actually do go through your advertisement, they are more filtered based on the messages, right? That's the fundamental basis of why you have long copy versus a short copy. If, hey, real estate agents, are you interested? If that's your line, you're going to let anybody come in and there's no filtering there, right? If your real estate copy says, hey, can you close 10 new houses this month? Don't click on this unless you're a full-time realtor who's going to actually go through that. And your messaging is not even long. It's just the idea of filtering. So I just want to make that point to focus on the framework. Stop trying to copy and paste what Joel is sharing with you. That's not the point.
Guys, I think a really good idea, Paulson, if you're open to this, we might just have to add an extra day. And then what we can do is tomorrow, just because there's probably a lot of questions around this, tomorrow we could take our time actually finishing ads, and then we'll just bump the schedule forward. We can end on that Monday. So we could, I mean, if you're open to it, we could add an extra day.
Well, I don't know. Is everybody going to show up the next 4 days and do the work? If we audit your homework, is it going to be there? If that's the case, then I might be down for it. I don't want to drag it out if we don't have to drag it out. I need enough action takers here.
I think that'd be the right thing to do, to just over deliver for these guys. Okay. Just because I have a hard cutoff. That's why.
No, I know. But I still want to make sure it's worth it, worth your time as well. So let's do that. Let's just push one more day, and tomorrow we'll do ads part 2.
What we could do, guys, is we're going to probably finish. Sorry, my dog just woke up. He's a puppy. But here's what we could do. We could finish off tomorrow with everything that we had. It probably will only take like 20 minutes. And then the rest of the day we could spend, I'm trying to think what we could also do. Since I have a guest speaker, we might also be able to just make tomorrow longer. Would that also work, Paulson?
Yeah.
So I go first, and we do the intro call?
Yeah, let's do it. Who's coming in, Sergio?
I'll tell you privately.
Okay. All right.
I want to build some suspense. But let's say tomorrow is going to be a 90-minute call. How does that sound?
Okay. Let's do it.
45 and 45. That way we can end on Friday, and we don't have to overcomplicate the schedule. And that way we don't have to rush through today. Cool, guys. That's it for today, at least on my end. I have to run. Appreciate you guys very, very much. If you didn't get a chance to join the group, go join Marketing Agency Secrets. And what I will also say is make sure to block out 90 minutes for tomorrow, because I do not want you guys to leave early tomorrow and miss out on the information, given the fact that we're going to be taking a little bit longer. So,
and we'll do a shorter Q&A tomorrow as well, to just pack it in a little bit more. Okay. So I'm going to stay on and do some Q&A based on what we talked about, which is getting your ads going, getting your messages going. And I can field a lot of these questions if you have it. Thank you, Joel. Let's see. Let's raise your hands. There's so many questions coming in, both privately and publicly. Yeah, let's go with Peter. Raise your hand in the Zoom, and I'll go down the list here. Was today helpful, guys? Is this giving you a bit more confidence? You guys see the confidence we have in how we're saying, hey, go run ads. We know that we don't want you to waste your money. We're not just saying a bunch of random stuff just to get going. we've proven this building agencies, building 7-figure agencies, right? So there's a lot of experience that comes with our confidence. It's not just some random experiment that we did for a little bit. It's not that. It's really, being able to build our businesses around these strategies. So let's go with Peter. I think you were the first one.
Yeah. Hi, thanks. This was really good. Um, I've been running Facebook ads for more than 3 years now, and something that I saw in the presentation was that I fear that there will be some overlapping in the campaign, and perhaps you can tell me how the different ad sets will not crash into each other when it comes to the custom audience versus the proven interests. Because in my world, it would
It
cross
it
over.
it it wouldn't, unless you took let's say, I remember doing this maybe 3 years ago. Myself and two other ad agencies, we kind of joined forces together, and we found this email scraper. This guy was so good at what he did. He was able to, I don't even know if he did it like over the table, to be frank with you, but he was able to get a list of um, medical residents that was in a university system that graduated like 10 years ago. So by the time 2020 came around, or 2018, at the time 2018 came around, we knew that they did their step 3 in 2008, meaning odds of us grabbing a list and that list being, essentially a bunch of docs that possibly could own a practice was really high. And we spend like close to, I think, $6,000 or $7,000 combined together between these three ad agencies, and we got a list of almost like 260,000 residents that graduated 10 years prior. We had enough size of a custom audience to run ads for the next like 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So would there be overlap? Yeah, of course. It's going to depend on how pure your list is and how you got your data. Right. If
Okay.
I took, let's say, chiropractor. In the chiropractic space, there's what is it called? Parker Chiropractic. It's a pretty big franchise in, US. And if you took their list and then interest on your Facebook ad said Parker Chiropractic, yeah, it's going to be some overlap. But why does it matter? It doesn't. Even if there is overlap, it shouldn't, because guess what? You don't have to really worry about ad fatigue, if that makes sense, because
Oh,
you're
no, yeah.
you're rambling, and the size of the audience will not change ever, right?
I'm
So
with you
what you
on
have to
that.
do, you have to be
Mm,
so dynamic in how you run these offers. You have to essentially have in the after the first 3-4 months, Peter, you better have about 5-6 offers running to that
yeah.
same audience with 20 different creatives, right? It's
Probably.
going to
Yeah.
be it's going to
Yeah.
be
Mm,
variation that's going to go far in any, and you're constantly thinking
mm.
of new ways,
The
um
difference here, if I may interrupt you, is that you're running ads on a size of a market in the States that is essentially the same size of entire Europe. The problem with Europe is that it's 13 different languages. So then you have to, if you're hitting for real estate agents as I am, then you have to cut it down on language also. And then if there is overlap, they start to actually. I've been doing this for some time, and I've seen examples where the actual ads halt. They don't run at all. Get nothing back from Facebook. So that's what I fear in my situation.
and I
So
think that's a reasonable thing to worry about. That's when you
yeah,
have LinkedIn, that's when you have YouTube, that's when you have Snapchat,
yeah,
that's when you
mm,
have every platform on the planet running for you to the same audience. Retargeting campaigns. So
yeah, yeah,
it's unfortunate that, you may be working with a smaller market. But that's
mm,
okay. It's okay to work with the smaller market, even if it's just 5,000 people. You just have to have so many different angles coming at them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because guess what? I mean, a 500 client agency is still a pretty big agency in a 5,000 small little niche, right?
Precisely. Yeah.
So it's just a
So
matter of
I'm going to
getting
run a
creative.
lot of ads, no problem, because I totally agree with Joel and you. It's the fastest way to get results
Yeah,
and
well,
learn.
here's the thing. That is paid ads, right?
Mm.
This has to run simultaneously with organic.
Yes, of course.
You
Yeah.
cannot independently. You can, like, I look at ads, even though that's like 60% of my appointments and leads and demos coming in, I still don't put my projections on ads. I put it on the organic. I focus on
Yeah.
my cold email, Instagram DMs, all those things. Like, so ideally 4 or 5 channels on cold and one paid ad is that's good enough for one closer to be sweating all day on the phones, right? So
Mm.
that's how you have to look at it, a multifaceted. Robin calls it the omnipresent approach. You've got to have an omnipresent approach. um any
Okay,
follow-up to that,
thanks.
Peter? Any follow-up to
Yeah. No, no, no. I think it's really good.
that? Okay, fair enough.
And you're stuffing my throat full of ideas all the time. Thanks, buddy.
You're welcome. Let's see, and thanks for your questions. Raheem, let's go with you, man. Raheem.
Hey, Paulson.
Hey.
So again, another great session. You know, I've been running ads for myself, and it's a very similar format to what was described today.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this is an option, but I wanted to see if you could take a quick look at my ad. So my ad brings in leads. It's an ad for e-com. So it brings in e-com leads. The problem is these leads are all like not great because they're all new to e-com. Like they're thinking of starting or they're just started. And, like, I don't know if they'll convert, or anything
Yeah.
like,
So essentially that scenario happens after you've launched lead ads. Are you running lead ads right now, or is it something else?
yeah.
Okay. What's your offer for ecom?
My offer is, do you want to scale to 20K a month? Straight benefit. And
Don't.
there's like no like freebie or anything.
That's not an offer,
Yeah.
right? I need an offer, right? You told me what my scenario could be if we work together, but that's not an offer. I need an offer that says, you know what? I'm going to purchase this on Amazon today. That's my offer, right? So
Right.
I would say go back and put together an offer that is so disruptive. What is like, if you yourself have a problem giving that offer, that's when you know that offer is slowly strong enough, right?
So yeah,
Like,
that's my problem. I don't want to give freebie. I don't want to do like
no,
freebie
nobody said freebie. Nobody said freebie. But what is their biggest pain point? You work with ecom guys,
Yeah.
and what kind of ecom guys do you work with?
Like I don't have a specific niche. I have clients in candy store. They're like jewelry. There's clothing. There's like all kinds of different products. There's beauty. There's supplements. But yeah.
Here's a problem. You cannot run ads unless you're specific to a certain target. If I'm in the middle of, Desert Storm in 91 and my scope doesn't have a target in it and I'm just blasting away with a bunch of snipers, I'm not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? So I would say iron out a certain niche. Like within ecom, it's so big, right? You need to iron out a certain industry down to the pack where you're like going to dinners with your wife and kids, and they think you're in that business, not even in marketing ad agency, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think I shared that the day too. I would go to dinners with my wife and cousins and everybody, and my cousins would be like, "Oh, Paulson, what's going on, man? What are you up to these days?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I build dental practices." What the heck? I thought he was in marketing. He left. He's in dental practices now. And that's what I want. Right? And now I can run an offer to, hey, dentist, can you take on some all in for implants or Invisalign? Can you take on some dental cleaning? And that's, back when I had my dental agency, that's how I would do it. Well, back then we didn't need that many ads. Now we do, right? So Raheem, what I recommend is going back, and the reason why your campaigns are not as successful is you haven't ironed out a message. The campaigns are just a tool. It doesn't matter, right? If you had a guy standing outside by the traffic light with the board that says www dot I can scale to 0 to 20K for ecom businesses, even then nobody's going to opt into it because the messaging is not there. And then you have to craft up an offer. So I would say go down the line of figuring out a specific ecom sub niche, craft up an offer that makes sense for that sub niche, and come back and redo your copy, right? And otherwise, it's just it's good that you have ads running, and it can give you that psychological fulfillment that something is happening, but it is not going to be like I can't run projections on my business based on that. Does that you follow me?
Yeah. I think the part that makes sense is like going after specific sub niche within ecom, you know?
Yeah, you have
Uh,
to. You have to. Because if I just say dental, right? If I just say, hey, I work with general dentists, I can scale you as a dental practice from 0 to 100,000 a month. Nobody's going to opt into that. But if I say, hey, orthodontists that work in Alabama, I've got something for you, that's a different message, right? So that's what I would get closer to before running ads, right? We can't skip any steps from the last couple of days. And I know this from experience. And some of you know that are close to me that I just simply just started a brand new agency out of Toronto, like less than a month and a half ago. And I had to do the same thing, going further and deeper into the industry. Right. And I'm not disclosing what the industry is. I don't want to bring in more competition for no reason, but I have to do the same thing. I have to go sub niche into what it is. Those of you that are like in real estate, closer leads versus seller leads versus development leads versus builder leads. That's four different categories, right? Four different messages, four different businesses. But any follow up to that, Raheem? Hopefully I'm helping here.
no, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Claude, Levi?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks, Paulson. So my question is along the lines of what you were just talking about. I'm in the dental industry, but I just have one client there. I have an orthodontist that I've been working with for about a year now. So the only reason why I want to stay in that industry is because I have a client there. So I know a bit of what goes on in that industry, but I have no other affiliation to that industry. And listening to some of the replays from the previous days I wasn't here, I I think you transitioned from being a dental from being in that industry to a different industry. My question is, was there specific reasons that you can share why the dental industry wasn't good for you? And the second question is the industry you're in. Well, when you're choosing that niche, were there some specific questions that you considered about that specific niche, or was it something that just came to you and you're like, I'm gonna go in this one for so that because I don't want to stay in the dental industry just because I have one client in there. I want to explore and see what other niche is good for me for various other reasons. So that's my question.
Yeah. I had personal reasons of why I shut down my dental agency. It had nothing to do with the industry. It was, and I started in the dental space like in 2015, all the way until 2018. And then I came over and partnered up with Rob and Alex to take over the high level agency. So I had personal reasons of why I stopped my agency. It had nothing to do with the industry. If I go back in time, I would probably like right now, if I had a younger cousin or a little brother that was starting off, I would tell him to avoid medical. It's just too
Okay.
much. It's just too much headache. And medical has changed quite a bit. I'm not discouraging you from doing medical, but there's just too many other easier industries that are just it's not as hard as medical. Medical is one of the most hardest because they're so desensitized to being sold on something so many times from so many different vendors, and I just don't find it fun. Honestly, it's hard to get through the gatekeepers. There's a lot of different reasons why I wouldn't recommend medical. There's nothing wrong with medical. It's just the way the industry has been played out. It's just hard. It's just really hard. Now, if you do get a medical client, it's good. They stick it out. They do long term business typically, right? They don't just quit on
Right.
you for like they typically should stay with you for like a year, unless your fulfillment is not good. They would leave in 3 days, right? So it's a sensitive industry. That's the only thing I can share with you. Claude, if you're starting out brand new, fresh, there are plenty of other industries that you can consider. Dental, if you do go into dental, right? Let's say that's what makes sense. I would say go into being almost like a procedure specialist, right? I would be a all-in-one implant agency. I would be an Invisalign agency. I would be um, I would choose veneers and be a veneer agency. Like I would go deeper into that subcategory and put all my eggs in one basket and run it up, right? Until that fad goes away, right? So that's what I would do if I stay in. Does that help?
That definitely does help, and I've experienced a lot of those challenges that you're describing in the medical industry. And I am starting out. Well, I have one client, so I can't say I'm not starting out. I know a few of I've run ads and stuff like that, but it's still one client. So I am thinking hardly going into a different niche altogether. And if you can speak, maybe what should I look? What are those easier niches out there that what can you share on that end?
I would say go watch day two. I think we talked about unsaturated and saturated niches, and to be frank, if you're under 20 clients, you're starting out.
Right.
And the reason why I say that is because you don't have enough data to make a decision. The niche is not the problem. It's the operator in the niche that's the problem. That could be the business owner or you, the agency owner. And like if you're some of you that's been on my marketplace calls, I'm respectfully brutal in when I say things, right? And you can't just pivot into a whole different business model, just because you've had some pushback, right? There's somebody making money in every niche. Therefore, no niche is bad, right? The strategies are different when it's saturated, right? Like the way back in the day, I say back in the day, it's like 5 years ago, when I would literally be able to go to like a conference with a bunch of dental guys and just show up to a podcast conference and just pick off 20 clients. Those days are gone because that industry, not specifically just dental, most of medical has been so saturated and there's not that big of any there's no the size of the audience is so small. It's a very small industry. um, and the only reason I went into medical was because I started off my career in radiology. I have a medical license. I went into it because I knew the medical industry in and out. I have a healthcare management degree. I have an MBA in finance with healthcare experience. It just made sense for me to go right into it. I didn't even know people picked niches then. I just went with what was available to me. I'm serious. I didn't,
Yeah.
right? So knowing what I know now, there's something wrong with every niche, and every niche is saturated to a certain extent. So hopefully that helps, Claude.
Yeah, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Yep. Let's go with Wakar Ahmed. And if you have any questions you want me to get to you guys, do the hand raise and I'll get to you. Go ahead, Wakar.
Thank you, Paulson. So
Hmm.
basically, I also mentioned the questions in the chat. So I think there are two questions. The first one is that you have been mentioning that for each niche, you are probably starting a new agency. So probably the question is, do we use a new page, which is probably a niche specific page, to run ads? That's the first. And the second thing is about the resources, about the help desk, which you mentioned that we can get resources from.
Yeah. Help desk. Anybody, can somebody pull up the link to the help desk and post it in the chat? Number one, which is, do we use our generic existing agency page for running ads? So I have tested, and I know other agencies that have tested personal branding pages like Paulson Thomas, the dental specialist, right? And that doesn't work out that well. Um, I prefer you creating your own page of some kind. If you have your own marketing agency page, the key is to just launch with action. Nobody ever built business based on your name. It never happened, right? Like you can eeny, meeny, miny, mo, any one of those things. Something's going to give if the offer is right, right? So with some clients, for example, if they don't even have a Facebook page, we'll just throw up a random Facebook page and just launch ads with nothing in it. So it's all relevant to what the offer is. You don't have to have a seasoned Facebook page or anything like that. You can launch new ads right out of the gate. Now, can you scale quickly? Should you launch with $5,000 a day? Probably not. But for agencies, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get leads for agencies. Actually, most people are scared to run their own campaigns. Ironically, number two, what about the new niche specific name and domain? What niche do you want to go into, Wakar?
Yeah, for instance, I want to do gym owners.
Why?
Yeah, so basically, to be more specific, I want to do martial arts. I already have a client which I'm working with.
Okay.
They have a martial arts platform, and I'm also working on that. And I think while working on that, I and my team, we have much better opportunity to create strategies together, and to attract new clients together.
Okay. Okay. So number two, what is the new niche specific name?
Yeah, so basically, what I'm trying to say is that right now my company's name is Tectanic. That's all. And the same is true for my Facebook page. Do I want to run the Facebook ads from that page? I'm not really sure, because I've seen some people who are running ads with the name, um, maybe gym launch or something like that. So which is really niche specific. So
Yeah,
should I do
just
that?
create a new Facebook page that says martial arts launch.
Okay.
You got to think outside the box, buddy.
Yeah.
I cannot. This isn't like I remember the first ad that I ran. I literally launched within 10 minutes. I went to Google and literally just found a picture that had no copyright issues, threw up the text 20 appointments by tomorrow, and launched with a brand new Facebook page. You got to think on your feet on what that is.
Yeah. What
But
about, sorry, what about running ads from the same agency page,
it's
from the
fine.
same team?
If you I would just go with it. Like it doesn't matter. Just go with the page that you haven't used in a while and launch. The key is to launch. For worry about solving tomorrow's problem tomorrow, not today.
Oh, got
Right?
it. Thank you.
If it gives a feedback, oh, you know what, for some reason these are not working. If you have some sort of data that you can say, you know what, because I used this specific page, it's not working, then change it up then, right? But right now, you're going to lose one more day of not having ads, right? So I would launch with whatever you have without wasting any time. I promise. It is you're not going to get more opt-ins because you launched martial arts launch versus Titanic. I don't know what your agency is called, but whatever your agency page is, right? It doesn't matter. Like launch, right? Your
Sure.
offer is what speaks to the crowd, not your page name, right? So I would say go right into it. And looks like Peter and Tom, they both put in the link to the help desk. So feel free to find that. That's where we essentially document or put any kind of PDFs or slides or case studies or anything like that around marketplace or any sales trainings. That's where that goes. So at the end of the challenge, or the workshop, we'll figure out how to put all these resources all together Don't wait for our resources to launch ads. It doesn't matter. You got to think on your feet here. Is that fair, Wakar?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it would be really great if we could just get the document with the GHL offer.
It's not coming out for another month. I'm telling you,
Okay, hi.
because we got to go through compliance. We got to go through all kinds of stuff before it even comes out. I'm telling you, don't wait a month to launch ads. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Let's go with Jim Swan.
Hey, Paulson, how you doing today? Thanks for putting
Pretty
this
good.
on, and Joel as well. Little off topic, but I wanted to just ask a question regarding database reactivation. So just on the compliance side with CanSpam with the database reactivation, because I did have a client that said, well, if I blast out text messages to my list, how do you prevent how do you stay so that it's compliant? Or does it matter?
That would be relevant on how pure that list is.
Okay.
If they just randomly downloaded it from somewhere, like realtors would do this quite often. They would just randomly download it from somewhere for you to run a high level ad or a high level campaign, right? And they never had that person opt in, right? So if they don't have an opt in, then that's not fair to the lead either, right?
Do you
Right.
ever
So
bring it up with the client? Like when you're saying I'm going to do a database reactivation, what do you tell the client that, to cover your ass, I guess?
yeah, when I go in and say, hey, I want to run a high level campaign, I would ask them, where did you get these people from?
Okay.
Where did you get this list built? How did you build this list? Right. And if I want to run a high level campaign with text, voice drops, or emails, then what I'm going to do is say, hey, as long as this list belongs to you and you didn't just randomly come up with this out of thin air, then we're good to go. You have some sort of system. Like even if you had a little piece of, I remember one of the businesses I used to work with, they would do these like random workshops in the middle of like malls and like shopping centers, and they would have like a little piece of paper where people would just sign in. Okay, you're fair to go because you signed in. Here's my list of items, right? So that's going to be all relevant on how that list was created and how those leads were opted in the initial rounds. If that is an issue, if that's even a concern, go to the next client. Drop
Okay.
them.
Do you leave an opt out on the text?
You wouldn't have to if it was
No.
acquired properly.
Okay.
Right.
No, awesome. That answers it.
Right. If I'm texting, if somebody comes through my Facebook ad, my follow-up is gonna say, hello, first name question mark. I don't have enough room to have a opt out. Right. So what I recommend is making sure it's collected properly. And if they don't have any say, or if they cannot give you clear answers, move over to the next client. There's
Okay.
That's my recommendation.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, Jerry, let's go with you.
Hey, Paulson, how are you, man?
Hey, pretty good.
So, quick question. How can we target groups on Facebook or businesses that own a specific page and target that specific owner of that page?
Who talked about that?
What do you mean?
We never presented that strategy. It doesn't work.
As a target, you mean as a target audience? Because in my niche, there's several groups on Facebook that I have all of the potential clients that I might want on that group. So would that be as a proven interest audience?
No, it wouldn't be. Proven interest would be from Facebook natively giving you interest that you can target.
Right.
We're not saying go create a new interest that's not even there, right? You're going to spend a whole lot of money trying to find some people in the group you might as well go in the group and just partner up with the group leader and just target the group that way. That's more effective than running paid ads.
There's no way to target groups, right, on Facebook. It's not a capability.
There is. It's not white hat.
I see. I see.
Yeah. There used to be ways where you can just like drop videos and things like that and target based on people watching videos, and you can carpet bomb them. But I think Facebook has taken that away. It used to be called something post, black post targeting, something like that. Some of you that's been doing this long enough may have better ideas on it. But yeah, I don't. You don't have to target groups to get agency clients. You don't. What industry are you in, Jerry?
I'm in the running industry. I help event organizers secure more registrations to their events.
Okay. How many event organizers are there in your market that you're going after?
Oh, in the US, we have over 30,000 events per year.
That's a really small industry.
Right.
That's a really small industry, right? So all you have to do is get somebody that has email capabilities that can scrape a list for you. And instead of you having to find that audience, you can have the entire industry in a custom audience. Therefore, you never need to even worry about Facebook groups.
Right. All right. So what would be a decent amount of emails to upload to Facebook to create a custom audience or a lookalike?
It doesn't matter. Even if I could only generate 200 people off of that list, it doesn't matter. I am going to just be able to target that list. Like, let's say, for example, I get a list of 30,000 people, right? I'm not even concerned about creating lookalike on that. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm going to pound that list first. Get enough data after 6 months of running ads. It's such a small list, right? Now, you may be thinking, I want to recreate lookalike audience, retarget 1%, then 2% to 3%, then 5%. Take action today. Don't worry about all of that stuff. You're going to have a Facebook ad buyer by the time you get to that point, and they're going to be running your ads because you can close clients today, right? That's my recommendation. So if you, let's say, for example, you're in the track industry, the running industry, find a email scraper that can scrape some emails for you, load it all up into a custom audience, pound them with ads across multiple platforms. Lookalike audiences are not even in the play until you have enough closes.
Understood. All
right.
Yeah, and the last one.
You can get to 100 grand a month before you worry about lookalike audience. I promise you.
Perfect. Now the difference between the lead forms. When someone lands on the lead form, they're going to provide their email and their SMS or their phone number. Is there a way that after they opt in, I can immediately send them a text just to get the appointment set, or what's your recommendation after they fill out the form?
Right now, I would recommend you calling them. As soon as the lead comes in, call them within 5 minutes.
Got it. All right.
Right. The problem with you setting up you see how marketers think, right? You see how we're all thinking, let me create the most efficient system.
Yeah.
So I can take the least amount of action. That's usually how my brain works too.
Right.
I get it, guys. But go the classic traditional route of generating leads, pound them on the phones, close these deals. And then when you have an ad buyer that you actually bring in to do all your fulfillment, maybe after the first 10 closes, they can worry about all this sophistication. Right now, we're just trying to get to that 10, 20K mark quickly, right? So for this context, it doesn't, it's okay to wait it out to build up these massive audiences and things like that. And none of that is going to actually help you unless you have a plan of spending $10,000 or $15,000 a month, which I don't even recommend for a brand new agency.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
So if that's it.
Last question. All of the information that comes through lead forms, can I assume it will feed into my, go high level list of additional contacts, of new contacts? Okay.
You have to set it up that way, but yeah, 100%. And that's across any platform. You can, so that way, what you want to do is run a high level campaign against that list, right? If you don't know what a high level campaign is, it's essentially two-way text messages, voice drops, emails, all combined together in different phases of the sales cycle, right? That's a high level campaign, right? So yeah, 100%, Jerry. You definitely want to get that, build the leads and then follow up with these leads. Obviously, have systems like High Level helping you, right? So you don't have to do a lot of manual labor, right? Cool. Any follow up to that, Jerry?
No. That's pretty good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Let's go with Christian Granville.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. It's funny your agency's setting in Toronto. I'm just outside of Toronto myself, but
yeah, my business partner is in Toronto. I'm in Houston.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Used to live in Toronto, but so what my question is so I scraped a list, got a list and everything like that. Let's say, I guess what my question is again is the custom audience versus the proven interest. Like, am I just uploading this list onto Facebook and then leaving the targeting clear? And then when it comes to the proven interest, is that separate from my list? Just like, okay. I thought it was kind of like putting the proven interest, layering it on top of the. Okay,
if you did the latter, your audience will get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You're going to have 50 people by the time you have a proven interest and a list, right? So a custom audience, because you've specifically assigned somebody to scrape that list for you, or let's say you went straight to D7 and just scraped a specific audience, right? You don't even have to really do any targeting on that. What you do need is a variation of offers that makes sense and talk to them, right? That's why these are so easy to run. I can literally, what industry are you going into, Christian?
Kitchen remodeling.
Perfect. Go to D7 Lead Finder, find all the contractors that do kitchen remodeling on all, whichever market you're going after. And as soon as that list is ready to go, you're done with your audience size. That's it. Like how much more, how there's no variability there. It's a set number, right? Your size of your industry is the same. It doesn't change whether you're in it or not. Right? So that variable doesn't have to change. You're not going to be able to build new audiences on that like you do with local ads, right? And therefore, what you need to change is the variation of offers, variation of creatives, variation of your messages, your long copy, short copy, dynamic creatives, YouTube, LinkedIn, all these things that, all these things, because guess what? We're not able to change the size of the audience, actually, right?
I think someone.
Does that help? Yeah, let me see if I could. Okay, perfect. Cool. Does that help? Two different things. Proven interests, custom audience. Two different things, right? It's going to be two different advertising campaigns. So when you set it up on Facebook, it's going to be two different things.
Okay. Keep the campaign separate or all in the same campaign?
I would keep it separate. However you want to set it up. You can set it up with one campaign with 5 different ad sets. I like to just separate even. I just go one campaign, one ad set, one offer all the way through. So I know I can divide up my budgeting properly. That's the way I like it, but it's up to you. But the idea is the same.
Okay. And then I just had one more question. So you kind of mentioned it just now. You're answering someone's question. You're like, as marketers, you want to set up this like system to make it as easy as possible. So like when we had to choose between lead ads or messenger, I was like, oh, here's my chance for these chat bots. Here's my chance. But I guess you kind of answered it. I should go just with lead ads and just straight up call these guys and enter it into high level. But I just got high level a couple of days ago, so it's a mystery to me right now. So
I understand. And I'm here. I've been in high level for a long time. It's still a mystery for me because I'm not a technical guy, right? That's
Oh
why I like
yeah.
enjoying these conversations instead. Um, but here's the thing. I promise you, if you actually go, if you, how many of you guys exercise regularly every single morning? It is a, no matter what, it's something that you cannot compromise, right? And if you think back to the times when you actually have compromised, how do you usually make decisions versus how you make decisions now? If I just looked at all the decisions I made when I don't exercise versus all the decisions I make when I do exercise, there is differences. There's actually differences in my level of focus, right? In this scenario, this is going to be one of the most hardest decisions to make. The decision of, you know what, for life, I will not turn my ads off as an agency. That's the decision you got to make right now. And that's what we're asking you to do, right? We're saying, even if you think it's unaffordable, $5 a day, it's reasonable for us to recommend and say for the remainder of your business life as a marketing agency, not a single day, do not turn off an ad. That's a decision we're asking you to make. Why is that? Because a machine is working for you. A machine that you sell other people is working for you. And we're not even talking about Facebook. We're saying anything goes, right? Some of you that are in industries that just makes more sense to run LinkedIn ads, I don't care. $5 there, sure, run it, right? Craigslist ads, dude, I remember I couldn't even afford to run Facebook ads. I ran Craigslist ads. Because
Yeah.
for me then, $3 versus $5 was like $100, $200 difference back then. That went a long way for me with zero clients then, right? So it's
Yeah.
not a matter of it's a philosophy thing, right? Nothing's going to be perfect in anything that you set up. You're going to find out details. Your industry specifically may hate setting up introductory calls. We don't know that. You don't know that. They will tell you. That industry will speak to you. Hey, I've got an operational problem. I cannot just jump on a phone call. I do my books, my books at the end of the day at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. You may find out, there's a certain age group in your industry that that's much easier for you to relate to, right? Right. In my dental career, one of the most important things, it sounds so silly, one of the most important things was for me to humanize myself. A lot of our messages is not humanized. You're looking at systems and processes all day long. You don't humanize, right? Right. Like my first statement on a cold call would be like, if they put up an ad and they opted in, I'm just gonna pick up and call and say, hey man, I saw that you responded to one of our ads. This is XYZ agency. I just wanted to call you to show you that it's not a random call center and that I'm an actual person. My first line. They're like, oh, snap. Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. I remember that ad. Yeah, man. Sorry, didn't get to you any earlier. I had to do a bunch of errands for my wife. You know how that goes. Like, dude, I'm telling you, this industry started responding to me when I started complaining about my wife. And literally, my wife was down, she's literally living in staying in the living room, and she would be laughing her, butt off, just dying of my variation of how I'm answering and trying to humanize this experience. Right. And that's how you have to think. You cannot just randomly just throw out a bunch of stuff and hope that it's going to work because you picked it off for a niche. That's just one step. You've got to go deeper and figure out what that industry wants. What do they really want? Right? What do they really want? And hopefully that, sorry for my long-winded answer, but you get it. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, it actually sparks one last question. I don't want to take up all the time. So when that lead comes in, it's a question about the sales process. So when that lead comes in, I have no problem hopping on the phone, making a quick call, but is my goal in that, like, I would imagine my goal to be to actually set up another call. Like, is that just kind of like an introductory kind of thing? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, if you're selling products, you can do a 1-call close. If you're selling services, you have to do a 2-call close. If you're selling consulting, you have to do a 3-call close.
So
the reason why, Christian, is that we're selling services. What happens if you sell and they say yes on a 1-call close? It's probably one of the most worst things that you can do to your account managers in the future. Because guess what they have to do after you've already closed the deal? They have to now reclose the deal. Because it's so hard to set the right expectations with 1 call, even if they said yes. I've had people that I've refunded and reclosed them because they don't understand what they bought. I want to make sure they're educated, that we're investing into marketing. This is not an expense. I want you to understand this is going to go wrong the first 60 days.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying, right? So that's why with services, you have to do an intro call for 1 minute. Get off of that call. 1 minute, 2 minutes, get off of that call. If you find yourself explaining your business, get off the call. Right? There's about 3 things I would say you want to make sure on that intro call. 1, they have a marketing problem that they recognize, or a sales problem, whatever, leads problem, new business problem. That's number 1. Number 2, is today the right time to invest into fixing that problem? If today is not the right time, then you're not my client. We're going to talk to you in about 2-3 months.
I'm just writing this down.
Right. Number 3 is whether I'm the right person to solve your problem. If I sell SEO services, then I don't want to close somebody on lead gen. It's just out of my box. It's not part of my fulfillment.
Yeah.
If you get those 3 right in the first 3 minutes, that intro call is now qualified for a demo call. In that demo call, you talk about your actual packages and what it is that you want to do, set the right expectation. When they do close and say yes to you, account management takes it over smoothly. Otherwise, your account managers are going to struggle, which is the beginning of all fulfillment problems. Some of you that are established agencies, you're like smiling because you've seen this over the years, right? You've seen this all the time, right? Does that help, Christian?
Yeah, that helps a lot. Like, just a quick intro, be like, hey, just following up, just saw you. Anyway, I could think of it, but like, yeah, just a quick intro, then book them into my calendar, I suppose. So.
Yeah. And what industry are you in again?
I'm going to be doing Facebook ads for
remodeling.
Kitchen remodeling.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Christian, saw that you responded to one of our ads. How long have you been in the industry? Oh, cool. Tell me about your story. Who doesn't want to talk about themselves, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about your story. They'll tell me blah, 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 blah. I'm not even listening. I'm going to go straight to my third question, which is, can you handle new business? How quickly can you deliver? Perfect. I want to talk about your services, and I like to do that over Zoom. And remind me to tell you about our entire system of how we brought in 40K to another contractor. Oh, cool. Are you sure you can be in front of a computer? Can you make sure you turn your phone off while we're on the call? And I like to do ethical business. Will you actually show up to the call? If not, I'd rather not schedule this in because we have other contractors that have applied. You see the positioning, right?
Yeah.
Positioning, right? And if they say yes to that, they're going to show up. I don't get people not showing up to my demos. They show up.
Yeah.
Right? If they don't show up, literally, you guys are going to laugh what my follow-up is. It's so unprofessional, but it works. My follow-up says, YO, WTF, what happened? You disappeared on us. That's my actual follow-up text campaign on high level for my demos. Yo, WTF, what happened? You disappeared on us. That's my actual follow-up. You see how humanized that is?
Yeah.
It's borderline unprofessional, right? And I don't, you guys
Yeah.
know me, I'm a clean cut guy. I don't, use those words and this and that. But for sure, that industry uses those words.
Oh yeah, they're gonna. I imagine them being kind of rough around the edges, but
yeah. So you
it's
speak in their
fun.
language. You speak in their
Oh
language,
yeah.
and they come back and say, "Oh, I had back surgery. I had this and that. I closed up shop." They respond to that. They'll say, "Okay, do you think it'll be worth our time to reschedule this so we can show you how to build your business again?" And if they say yes, they're going to show up,
Mm.
right? So it's just a matter of positioning. Hopefully some of you guys are changing your follow-up right now, but you guys get the point. I may just change it up, but you guys get the point, right?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Right.
Let's
That's
go with
cool. Thank you.
Haria. Yeah, no problem. Miss Kieran, how are you?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Paul, for all this help. So I'm having a question. I have chosen real estate, and I've been creating ads from last year for them. So now the agency dream I was having, I was thinking I need another year or so, but I think I can make it happen within a month or so after having this all in front of me. So I am going to create a new campaign today that is for first-time home buyer that I want to focus on, and whatever I will be creating in that campaign, I want to just use that for my next clients to be used. So one thing I'm not sure about, if you can give me some suggestion on that, how about like using the actual real estate agent itself in the ad, like using video ad with the agent versus a picture? That's mostly people I see doing in the real estate ad, which makes more sense in this. Whereas I have even seen a real estate guru has posted they are interested in the home, not in the agent. I get that, but agent is very important when people are looking to, like, what you will say about this.
Well, what problem are we solving? The problem of
Well,
sales for your agency, right?
yeah,
Is that real estate agent going to close deals for you?
definitely, yeah.
They're going to work with you as a marketing agency instead of closing real estate deals?
No, I'm talking about I'll be working for other clients in my agency from that perspective, because I will be copy pasting the same campaigns I'm doing in my own business. I will be using the same campaigns for the other realtors I will be working in future. So my question is, like, when I make ads for other clients for real estate, should I be using those my clients in the videos as well, or I should be just having a generic page image?
I would honestly just launch without any follow-up at all, except for just a simple text that says, "I saw that you responded to my ad. Could we do an intro call?" Don't overcomplicate this.
Yeah, because to make videos for everyone, it's difficult, and it's more steps to it.
Yeah, because eventually when you switch over from the lead ads to a funnel, then at that point you have to have a bit more sophisticated follow-up. You would have to have, case studies and, one of your clients talking about testimonials and blah, blah, blah. But I mean, you should be able to get to 30, 40K a month without case studies. I honestly 100% believe so.
Okay, so that I will, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
So now when we talk about pricing our package, so do we include follow-up emails in that package as well? Like, how long the follow-up should be? Because for my current, like, I'm the partner in this real estate agency, like agent, not agency. So, but I have created a follow for 6 months for our own
For you
business.
to for you to run a high level campaign today for yourself as an agency, you don't
No,
need a
for the
massive follow-up. That's all we're talking about today, right? We're talking about how to get you new clients. I'm not going to answer questions about fulfillment of how you would fulfill after you close a client, because that is a that is a 3-month conversation.
Yeah, but I was just like thinking about the pricing thing, what the price should be and how much work it should be in my product.
You're doing it for free to earn the client, is what we're saying. Get them appointments. We're talking about two different things. What I'm talking about is the offer that you put in front of your audience for your agency, right? For that, there's not much of any fulfillment. You run a high-level campaign with the list that they give you. If they don't have a list, go to the next prospect.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking like about like, okay, I can create some much realtors. I know like if I will put this message, I will get, because I have in my Facebook even so many realtors. I don't know why intentionally I have so many realtors on my Facebook. This was something in my mind, so I have
Because
like
you
most of the friends.
because you added them, or they added
Yeah,
you, one or the other, right?
yeah,
But
because it was in my mind like I'll be working for them somewhere. So that was, so I feel like if I have a strong message even on my organic Facebook profile, and I did few times, and I got 4 or 5 people texting me in my inbox what I do and how I do, but I was not ready to fulfill and to do all that. So right now I feel like I'm ready, but I'm just thinking what should be the pricing for that and
for
how much work.
fulfillment, are you talking
Yeah.
about fulfillment, or are you talking about pricing for a high-level campaign in the beginning to earn somebody's business?
I feel I can earn their business if I can just create a good copy even on my organic without even running an ad
Okay.
at this point.
Okay.
So I'm
So what
just, yep.
you're thinking too far ahead. You're worried about fulfillment on the clients you don't have yet.
So what if I have tomorrow? So what I should price them?
They're not going to be talking about price until you start somewhere, right? If they do, I don't recommend you going below $1,500 to $2,000 on anything or anybody.
I price someone 3,500.
Yeah,
So
that's way too high for real estate.
yeah, so I just want to be reasonable. So because I took me enough time to write 6-month follow-up emails for one client of myself. So I feel like this is too much work. So I just want to make sure like how much work I should be doing for the person in $1,500. That should be making sense to me.
Yeah, that you have to talk to fellow real estate agencies and figure out what kind of fulfillment you want to put together to be competitive, to be honest with you. I'm not a real estate expert.
No worries. Okay, get it.
But it depends on what it is.
But one question like we were discussing today about creating all over the new page and just start running ad. So related to that, I want to ask, like if we don't have any content in our page, how it will affect? Because when I see some ad, I just go over to that person page and you look at what the content they're sharing and likes and stuff like that. So what you will say about that?
It doesn't matter. Launching is better than not launching is all I'm going to say. It doesn't matter. You're complicating it. The thing is this, Wakar, I told you to just run with what you have right now, right? Same thing applies here. Maria, it's run with what you have. You have an agency account or a page that's been there, just launch. I don't want to waste 10 minutes to create a new Facebook page. That's how much I value time. I don't want to do that. I want to just go right in and just launch ads. Right? So I say launch ads before you think of every single way to not run ads mentally, because you're protecting yourself. That's how we all function. We're always trying to protect ourselves. But anybody else that have a question? I see that this might have been the last raised hand. Anybody else? Let's see, Raheem, if we want to go back to you. Anybody else have any questions? I'll stay on for another 10, 15 minutes. As long as the video doesn't get too big for our production team to upload all these things. But Raheem, let's go with your questions. I'll take a couple of more questions if you guys have anything. Well, go ahead.
Hey, Paulson, I wanted to ask, like, a lot of the offers, I reviewed the offer training, but I've been struggling with translating some of those offers to e-com, and I had some ideas. So, like, for example, dentists, realtors, 10 appointments, 10 leads, whatever, right? But how do you translate that to e-com?
Yeah, e-com is going to be performance driven. Hey, I'll get you 2x ROAS, right?
Okay.
I'll get you XYZ purchases. It's going to be catered to the sub niche that you go into.
Oh, okay.
But your language, the framework doesn't change, but the language does change. Like you said, it's not the same thing as local, right? You got to go in and say, hey, I'll 5x your ROAS, and here's how, right? Remember, in ecom, your shop owners typically can run their own Facebook ads. I don't know that many ecom owners that are not good at advertising and they don't know platforms. They typically gave up on their agency dreams and went into ecom and said, you know what, fulfillment somehow is going to be easier when I run a online shop. I don't know where that concept came from, but most of them know how to run their ads. So you got to show how you can run better ads, right? So that's the thing there. They're not going to bite on, even if you said 500 leads by tomorrow, they're not going to bite on that. They want performance. Hey, if we don't perform, money back. That's a good offer, right? How many other agencies are doing that in ecom? Not many.
So my follow-up to that is it takes me about three months to really start generating the ROAS and stuff. And during my onboarding call, I tell them like, this is what we're going to do month 1. We're going to bring you traffic, fix conversion problems, get you reviews. And then month 2,
you're customizing too much.
Oh,
you're building a new shop for them. You can't look at it that way.
No, but like if it takes me 3 months in general to deliver results, how do I translate that into an offer? Like, hey, don't pay me until you get 2x ROAS, but for 90 days, or like, there's a trial. Most of the trials, like 10 appointments free.
So your offer, right? That initial offer is to run something that you can, if you cannot go in with an offer that you can't deliver.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you need to figure out what the offer is in the beginning of, hey, this is what it takes. And Raheem, and I say this respectfully, there's plenty of other agencies that can deliver ecom results in less than a month. There are plenty out there. So your fulfillment has to be strong and your offer has to be strong, right? So I would say box yourself in and figure out how you can do delivery, fulfillment that doesn't take 3 months to prove yourself. You might as well go sell SEO services. That's too much. That's too long, right? Get away from ecom if that's your skill level, right? Go into local, right? At the end of the day, they all pay $2,000 a month anyway. So make it easier for yourself. Instead of selling $2,000 on a mammoth of a problem that you're solving, solve the easier problems, right? So that's my recommendation. Does that help?
Yes and no.
It's like, I'm committed. I don't want to change my niche, right?
It's like the part that's it's helpful. I guess the part that's not helpful is it's not immediate. It's still helpful, but like you guys said, you're gonna tell the truth instead of what we want to hear, right?
Yeah, I mean, thing is this: how many of you guys are in ecom in this call today? Anybody? Can you give me a 1 if you are in the ecom industry? Maybe there's nobody, but anybody? Nobody. Even that is a lesson, Raheem. Nobody else is there, right? But I do know about 2-3 agencies that they crush it for ecom. The thing with ecom delivery is top line delivery. You've got to have some seriously good ad buyers that can deliver at speed. That's ecom. If you don't have that and you're doing all the work yourself, I don't recommend ecom. right? So you got to look at your technical skill and figure that out, whether it makes sense. If you're able to generate leads and do really well purchases or do really well in 3 months, that's a perfect timeline for like a local space. But ecom is a complex business. You're competing with so many different problems on top of China shutting down doors on delivery, right? If they're drop shipping, you're in for a treat on your ads. You do all this work. Month 4, they're gonna pause for you for 2 months. Then you start it up again. It's all a mess. So that's my thought process on ecom. It a lot of people bite off something they can't chew, and it's not you. It's mostly everybody, in my opinion. That's why there's a need for agencies. But the delivery that you're competing with is it's some serious business. Like you've got to be like I'll tell you this: we've spent over $4 or $5 million in ad spend at the high level agency. We don't take on ecom because it's too complex for us.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
That tells you, I don't know what kind of experience you have, but if an agency like ourselves decline ecom, where does that put you in a healthy way, right? It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. And it's not worth $2,000. If you don't give me 50% of the company, I will not take on ecom.
Wow. Okay.
That's my feedback at a personal, honest level, my friend.
That's super helpful.
You might, if for that amount of work, you might as well start your own shop and run your own ads.
Well, yeah, I was actually like, before I joined this course, I was like, I'm going to get some local leads. I mean, local clients, because
Yeah.
I was just feeling like, oh my God, this is insane. Like, and I am the only one doing fulfillment. But then, like, I watched that thing and I was like, Joel was saying, hey, don't switch niches just because,
Doesn't mean you get stuck in a niche
yeah,
that's not good for you. Switch quickly if I were you. If I like that's me. Like, it doesn't mean after you make your next decision that you switch again. We're just saying pick
yeah,
the right one that makes sense for you and you can go at it, right? So um
that makes sense. So,
yeah, awesome.
thanks.
Let's go back to you, Wakar, and we'll call it a day.
Thank you. All right. So I was basically trying to find a proven interest for the martial arts, and so I was looking at the job titles, and the potential reach is still only 2,300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty low. Don't you think so?
No,
Okay. So also you asked.
it just means your ads are gonna fatigue really fast because your audience is so small, right?
Yeah. So how do you handle this kind of stuff?
Variety of creatives, variety of offers.
Mhm. Also, if you compare martial arts and the gym studios, or maybe if you go broad and just try to do fitness industry, so can you comment on it? If martial arts is too sub niche, or is
No,
it a proven
I
niche?
don't think it's too sub niched.
Okay, so this is a good place to start, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. There's plenty
Mhm.
of martial arts franchises out there that you can get started with, you know. Um, but yeah, I don't think it's bad at all.
And at this time during COVID, do you think they are open and they might be interested in these kind of offers?
It depends. It depends on how
Yeah.
they do delivery, right? Right. If it's it depends on the state. It depends on the industry. I'll tell you this. Let me tell you guys something about the digital marketing industry. We have almost 7x in business size because of COVID.
Wow.
Top agencies have 7x in the last 6 months. some bad ones about 4x'd because they're good at sales. There's a need for the online component. I don't know whether they're going to be doing martial arts on a Zoom call. I don't know, but there is a need for what we do as experts. There is 100% a need, right? So figure that out. And I would say think on your feet and figure out what it is. So I know, I know a guy, I think his name is Idris Nawabi, something like that. And he was working with gyms, and all of a sudden he pivoted his offer and said, "Hey, if you're a gym owner, I have an offer for you in the middle of COVID, which is a $2,000 course, but today I'm going to give it to you for $500." Think on your feet with your offers, guys. Think on your feet with your fulfillment based on what's happening in that industry, right? And it's not just the done for you services. Right? It's a lot. There's a lot here, but yeah, Wakar, it's not the industry that's the problem. It's whether your product market will fit or your service to market will fit, right? That's what you got to figure out in the middle of this landscape. Um, Anybody else? Any other questions on ads or anything we've talked about? And we're on day 6. How many of you guys are actually following through on your homeworks? Just be honest with me on getting your list, picking your niches, picking your packages. You deciding on your like how many of you guys are actually following through, hiring your cold VAs? Like you can literally just put your card in on Facebook Manager tomorrow if Joel asks you to or myself asks you to. You guys are all. Eric says yes. Braden says yes. Let's talk about what you guys have done so far. So give me a 5 bulletin point of what you have done, Braden.
So I'm good to talk. Good.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. You can hear me. So yeah, so I'm actually buddies with Christian, who you were just talking to, by the way, and we actually made a training program for VA to do some of the cold outreach for us. We've both been working on our offers and stuff like that. Actually, while you guys are all talking here, I started to build out my ads campaign. And yeah, it's just coming down to the offer. Pretty much just using the reactivation campaign offer. I've been finding it's working a little bit well with starting conversation. I've had a second appointment booked right now just for the reactivation offer.
Yeah, that's the mindset. That's the right mindset, right?
Yeah.
That's the right mindset to follow through. What industry did you decide on? Or did you already have an industry that you chose?
Yeah, so I'm breaking a little bit of one of the cardinal rules. I'm doing health and wellness, like just as a topical area. So a lot like chiros, physiotherapists, massage therapists are kind of like the top 3. I'm not diving into any one of them, but
so here's what I recommend. You're going to generate a lot of low quality leads because you're a bit more broader versus if you took that budget and split it up into therapist, nutritionist, and holistic somebody, stem cell, I don't know, whatever, right? If you had set up 3 different ad sets with 3 different messages, that's going to go further for you versus just generically umbrellaing, because that's one of those cardinal rules that are that's a tough one to break. That's one of those you don't break because that affects your messaging, right? If you break the one that says, you know what, don't do this offer, then that's okay to break. But you picking your niche and going deep into the niche is a big one with the right offer. That's a big one that you don't want to break.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind for sure.
Yeah, because if I'm the lead opting in, what am I actually opting into?
Well, like the thing is, my opinion on the topic, I guess, is like if I'm just doing automated booked appointments for like it's the same process. I feel like I don't know, like whether it be a chiropractor or like an acupuncturist.
Yeah, it's not the fulfillment. It's not the fulfillment. We all know at the end of the day, we all do a little bit of everything and it's all the same. We're all the same on fulfillment, right? Like, you may have some quality differences here and there on amount of leads you generate, response rates and blah, blah, blah. But all of us are in some sense all digital marketers, right? But the reason why niching is so important is that the way you talk to that industry changes drastically, therefore allowing you to scale drastically because you can talk to that industry in a specific way.
Yeah. Fair
If you
enough.
cannot do that, you cannot build a sales department around umbrella or generic campaigns. It's hard. You cannot bring in a closer and say, hey man, just talk to the nutritionist across Australia. Like that you can't do, right? So
Yeah.
it's a sales reasons why we say niche down, and fulfillment to a certain extent as well. You don't want to take on complex fulfillment to get paid the same amount of money.
So I guess my question back to you would be like, do you think there's that big of a difference between speaking to a chiropractor versus a physical therapist?
Oh, 100%.
100%? Yeah, fair enough. I just want to clarify.
Industries. Yeah. Two different industries, two different business models. One is B2B, one is B2C.
Well, yeah, true, I guess. What about like massage therapist versus a chiropractor? It's still B2C.
It's still B2C,
just,
but one is going in for recreation versus the other one's going in for serious surgical problems. It is still two different things. And we used to do this in the dental space. When I did dental, I had to differentiate between implant surgical dentist versus Invisalign orthodontic dentist versus general dentist. They all reacted differently. They all were in different packages. Their fulfillment was different. Their type of campaigns were different. So yes, absolutely different in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. I appreciate the insight. Thank you.
For sure, buddy. Eric, let's go through your line item of bulletin boards of like, what have you done so far since day one? Love to just get a review with you.
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So like, I think like the biggest first thing that I got out of this workshop so far is like choosing a niche. Like going into this, I was kind of wanting to be like the dude that knew all local businesses. And then I quickly realized that's probably not a good strategy for me to do. So I've niched down. So that's really good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So outside of that, I I have a pretty good list in that niche already. The things that I'm trying to do right now is trying to find possibly like a VA to do like the day-to-day outreach to that niche. So.
Yeah, when you look for a VA, don't hire a VA that can do everything.
Mm-hmm. So someone specific that's on like.
Yeah, I don't ever hire somebody for strategy. I already have my strategy.
Yeah,
I hire so somebody can execute my strategy, right? So it's like my cold VA that does email marketing only do email marketing. They don't do anything else.
Yes. So I guess like the one thing I've had kind of like a problem with, and Joel mentioned like warming up these like test email through like the Gmail addresses.
G Suite method. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there like, we didn't go over a method of how to do that, right? He just said to like register to some like newsletters and stuff like that. But
yeah, it's literally that your VA would be able to sign up for like 50, 60 emails, and they would have to subscribe to retail. Like, so I think we talked about J. Crew. Like my VA was like, Paulson, you seem like a guy that like J. Crew, and she would just subscribe to J. Crew and Express literally in all these accounts. And you know, it's just a matter of getting the flow going. So it's just subscribing to anything to get those emails going, right? Most cold email VAs know how to do this. They know how to create accounts. It's not something that you even have to dabble into. And for cold email right now, I have 2 full-timers. Well, 1 part-time because she's in school, but my main guy, I spend about $360 or $370 a month on their salary. And they punch out almost 1,100 to 1,200 emails a day.
Okay. So then I did have one question, and Waqar kind of was talking about this as well. So we're going into like running ads probably tomorrow, right? For us that are in industries that are like COVID lockdown, should we run these ads in the areas that are like locked down, or exclusively just for areas that are open, obviously, right?
Yeah, if you drastically know that COVID's going to actually affect your industry, jump ship.
Mhm.
Jump ship. If you don't have a done for you or a do it yourself model that you can sell as a product, jump ship, go into an industry that is not affected that drastically, right? And then roll with the punches, right? So I recommend you not just getting stuck in an industry and you're like, oh man, everybody's struggling, therefore I'm struggling too with the industry. But that's not the case scenario. There are some
Yeah.
industries that are almost COVID free, and there are some that are not.
Well, I think the areas that are coming out of lockdowns are out, like not even affected right now, are really strong in this niche. So like maybe I should just focus on those regions and stuff.
Yeah, you never know. At the end of the day, you're gonna have enough data, and the industry is gonna speak to you of what they're wanting, how they can go about it, right? Um, when we first learned about the whole COVID stuff, I mean, you guys know at the high level agency with the patient rush program, we've got a lot of medical clients there. We called everybody and said, "Hey, what's your plan for COVID?" Before we get canceled, we want to make sure we cancel you if we're going to waste time building all these things out. Right?
Yeah.
So what's your plan for COVID? If they don't have a plan and they're not doing virtual consults and setting up, some sort of parameters, because if they don't, they're just simply saying, hey, you know what, I'm just going to go out of business.
Mhm.
If you're planning on going out of business, that's cool. I get it. You don't need to invest into marketing if that's the case, especially if you're not going to fulfill with a pivoted move, which is like virtual consults or whatever, right? So that's kind of the hard thing with gyms. It's like it depends on what it is. If they're doing personal trainer sessions or one-on-one, or having their waiting rooms all cut out and they're making, if they're adjusting as they go, then you're good to go, right? If they can deliver what you market, you're good to go. It doesn't matter how they deliver. As long as it's good service, you're good to go. But then you'll find some gym owners that are like, well, man, everything just got wiped out. It's doom and gloom. Life sucks. All right, cool. Next. Like I don't want to waste time. I'm going to the next guy who's going to
Yeah.
make changes and he's agile. And there's a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. It's one of the old classics. It talks about how big corporations are agile in the middle of like huge stock market crashes and famines and war times. And it's a really interesting book. And we're around that time, right? Where business owners have to be agile. We have to be agile. So COVID doesn't really affect digital agencies. I mean, I've seen some serious spike in business all the way across. Um, so we're all seen as, oh, these are the Zoom guys, the new Zoom guys. Back then, it used to be the computer guys. Now it's just the Zoom guys. Nothing has really changed. They need us. But I appreciate all of you guys staying on. I know it went on for a little bit on the Q&A. Was that helpful? Are the Q&As helpful? Okay, awesome. And I'm going to call it a day, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow.